Hi, my name is Mello.
And I am Ninong.
And we are the Fairly Godfathers. We're gonna give you advice you can't refuse. What's up, guys? We're back for episode 3. Woohoo!
Yes.
Ninong, did you know that it's almost been an entire month since we did our first episode?
Yeah, we did the first episode around Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And it's, what, like...
Almost a month. It's
almost
March.
a month, yeah.
We're recording this as of March 10. So by the time that we actually release it to you guys, it's definitely going to be an entire month.
Whoa!
An entire month.
March 14, yeah.
Taking into consideration the fact that, February doesn't have all 31 days. But still, it's a milestone for Ninong and I, since this is our first project together.
Yeah, and I'm not used to, talking to a microphone.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing for me to do this.
And what is our topic this week, Ninong?
Well, the topic for today is about moving on.
Awesome. Quick reminder though, or a quick recap of what we did last episode, was that we were talking about how to turn someone down and the 4 steps into doing so. Along with the fact that we kind of ended up singing and...
Please forget that.
Yeah, that was fun, but I'm not quite sure we'll be doing that anytime soon. But if you guys want to, we'll see what we can do.
Sing for
you guys, considering that I cannot sing to save my life. And before we get ahead of ourselves, we would like to acknowledge this week's sponsor. This episode of the Fairly Godfathers is brought to you by Alice and Rabbit's Shop. For all your cosplay contact lens needs, head on to www.aliceandrabbitshop.com. Check the description for a link to the website. Thank you guys so much at my Alice and Rabbit Shop. You guys are awesome. Maybe you can send us like some contact lenses.
Yeah, pink ones, yellow ones, white ones.
Yup. Okay, Ninong, this is your episode, so you know what? Here's the wheel. Start driving.
Yeah, so this is my episode. I'm gonna tell a bit of my story. Hopefully it translates well and I don't stutter much. And, well, Mello, we have a guest today.
We do.
Yeah, he's here actually.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And he has something to say. I'm sure that our audience will recognize his voice when he starts speaking.
Okay.
Mr. Guest, can you please tell our audience what you want to say to them?
It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Do you understand?
Wait, how did we... I'm not even gonna ask, but since you have Bruce Lee as your guest, wait for next week. I'm gonna have my own guest and it's going to be just as badass.
You should be just as manly as Bruce Lee.
I will make no promises.
So yeah, you heard it right. I'm going to relate Bruce Lee to love and to a certain extent, moving on and heartbreak. It may sound cheesy as hell, but on the other hand, it's Bruce Lee, it's manly. I truly believe that the purpose of loving someone is to make that someone happy. In our selfishness, we forget this and focus on the pain that we feel if our love is rejected. So we are told by the media to fight for love, to keep on pushing until your affections to the other party, because just maybe he or she will fall for you if you try hard enough. It doesn't work that way. And yeah, we tend to forget the feelings of the other party, and we end up hurting and disrespecting the person we claim to love with all our hearts. In other words, we concentrate on the finger pointing towards the moon, the vehicle we use to reach our purpose, but we forget the moon herself or himself.
Yeah.
So if you're in love with someone and he or she doesn't love you back, you're allowed to feel bad. It sucks. It hurts. But it happens. People will tell you to forget or deny what you feel for him or her, to pretend that it doesn't exist. Or worse, sometimes they will tell you that to hate that person, that it's his or her loss for not seeing how great of a girl or guy you are. Of course, what usually follows is the question, if I was such a great guy or girl, why doesn't he or she want me? What I'm trying to say is don't listen to those people. It doesn't matter that they mean well or following their advice wouldn't help you at all. For example, in my case, usually there's something I have precious with a person that who has broken my heart.
Okay.
And that's usually our friendship. I'd be lying if I say that the only thing I want, that's the only thing I want. But it's more than enough for me. And it's not her fault. It's not my fault too. And demonizing her may make me feel better at the moment, but it would totally be dishonest and unfair. So note, moaning about the friend zone doesn't help either.
Yeah, I think we discussed that back in
Yeah.
episode 1.
Go listen to episode 1 if you
Yep,
haven't,
yep.
if you still haven't heard it. So
Okay,
if you
yeah.
are in the friend zone and you don't want to be a friend zone, you leave. If you still want to be friends with her, you deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah, listen to episode 1 just for future reference. So what do? I accept that my feelings for her exist. I don't deny them like some other people would say to me. She doesn't love me that way, so I respect her wishes and I back off. I guess that's the
Yeah.
main point that I want to you back off.
Take a step back. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you disappear, but I will discuss my part later. This is this kind of
Yeah.
somehow falls into my story as well. But yeah, you were saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if I fight for my love, I would have disregarded the choice that she has made. And that's very, I don't know, disrespectful.
Yeah.
And it would serve no purpose at all, other than trying to save my bruised ego. Remember, this is not about winning or losing.
Yeah.
She or he is not some prize.
She's not a prize to be won.
Yeah.
This is, you're dealing with someone who has a mind of their own, and you have to take into consideration the fact that they have their own preferences. It just happens that in the process of knowing you, he or she doesn't find it the same way, and there's no other way of going about it.
As Bruce Lee has said, forget about winning or losing. Forget about pride and
Yeah.
pain. Loving someone means you want to make her happy or him.
Yeah.
But in my case, her, because, yeah.
The
Yeah.
awkward pause of maybe,
Maybe.
Ninong is questionable when it comes to the sexuality. But go on.
No,
Go on.
but yeah. And sometimes that means tossing my ego aside and acknowledging her wishes. At the same time, I need to accept that I care for myself too. And clinging to the idea of having a relationship with her would be detrimental on our friendship and to me. So I accept that I can be happy with being single. And while I'm not looking actively for a partner, I will be opposed to the idea of, someone comes along. Even if that someone is not her. Well, it's easier said than done, but
The thought is there.
thought is there. So for me, moving on is not about obliterating your remaining feelings. Loving that person means backing off and moving on. And accepting that she can be happy without you and she can be happy with someone else. But at the same time, accept that you can be happy without her and you can be happy with someone else. So don't be that guy. Don't be the perpetual suitor who feels like he or she has lost somehow. We actually did a bit of research about
No,
this.
we didn't do a bit of research. We did a lot of research. And the things that we had from the last time actually carries over to this one. Last time we mentioned how to turn someone down. And of course, the follow-up question is, if the person persists even after the fact, how does that make you feel? Majority of the people that we asked that question would find it very disrespectful and would actually be turned off. The most optimistic result that we got was, I think, an 8 out of 10, was
Yeah.
it? Given the question that if you've already turned the person down, what are the chances of that person winning you over? The lady said it was an 8 out of 10, but that she was the only one who said it. Majority of the ladies or the people and the other guys that did answer gave a 50-50 chance, meaning in that 50-50 chance, there has to be a certain set of things that happen. And given that, there are a certain set of things that need to happen, the top thing that had to happen
is you have to back off.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to take a step back and do not force the issue. The person said no, and you have to respect that. It sucks. We keep saying this
Yeah, it
over and
sucks.
over again. It sucks. But there's nothing else to do other than deal with it. And you have to respect the person as a person, not as a prize that you can win by, investing emotional points over. Life is not an RPG that you can invest numbers in and it will pay off in time.
It's more of an MMORPG.
Yeah. So we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah, and imagine yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
If someone you don't like keeps on bothering you, what would you feel, di ba?
Yeah. You have to understand the fact that even if you do everything right, and I will always revert back to what I said in the friend zone conversation, even if you do everything right, for as long as the other person does not see it that way, or that person is looking for something else, then it's just not gonna work. You forcing the issue will actually just agitate whatever's happening and end up frustrating, flustering, annoying the person, so much so that the friendship that you guys had in the first place might not exist after that. Things will never be the same, that's for sure. But you don't have to make a big deal out of it. Ideally, okay? Ideally. This is all given that everything went well. Okay? We're not going to go into what if scenarios because that's just going to make this conversation a whole lot more confusing for everyone.
And a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
Please remember that this is a base-to-base case. It's a
case-to-case basis.
It's a case-to-case basis. Take it with a grain of salt. Maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't apply to you, to what you're experiencing right now. But in general, this is what we tell our people.
And remember, this is how Ninong deals with it. How I deal with it will be, of course, part of next week's conversation. But since we've already started talking about how Ninong does his getting over bit, could you bring us, like, Ninong, step by step, as to the process of getting over someone or moving on?
I guess what I did first was compartmentalize my sorrow.
Okay.
I don't know
explain.
how to. I read this in Tuesdays with Maury.
Okay.
And I put it into practice. Every morning I cry a bit. I cry a little bit and feel sorry for myself. And after that, I get on with my life. I interact with the person I am in love with and be just her friend. I guess I just put all my sorrow into one
spot
part,
and then
into one spot of the day, and for the rest it's not there.
How do you do that? Because
I actually don't know. And I guess it helps that you have friends that you can talk to about it.
That's very important, by the way.
That's very important.
Because when you feel like crap, people have a tendency to just curl up, ball up, and hide in the corner. But there comes a point where enough is enough. When too much hiding is just unhealthy for you. And this is the part where you need your friends and you need to reach out. Whether you like to admit it or not, this is something that you need. And I know how that feels. I know how that feels, and
it hurts so much that we know how it feels.
The admittance of weakness at that point does not make you a weak person. It's not. If anything, it just means that, like the internet says, you have been strong for too long, and you need a break from all of that.
As Brucey says, yin and yang, what goes up must come down. You need work and rest. So this is like your emotional rest. You've been strong for too long, and you have to be weak to become strong.
Yes.
That's very zen.
There is some scientific proof to that, because when you exercise, especially when you do some weightlifting, you are essentially ripping your muscles apart. The only time it gets to, bulk up is when you let it rest. So you can treat your emotions as like a muscle. Like
remember, your heart is a muscle.
Yes, literally and literally. On the figurative side of things, think of it that way. That when your heart gets ripped in half or in so many pieces that it can, it's going to heal. And the thing is, it's only going to be stronger. But you have to let it rest. And letting it rest entails a whole lot of processes. It depends from each person. Mine is different, Ninong's is different. But when you come out of it, you're going to be a whole lot stronger, obviously.
You'll become an emotional tank.
Exactly. And that is why we say that you have to tank the damage. Much like in video games or commonly in
Yeah.
MMOs, that you had to take the damage. And when you take a rest, that's when you get to heal. And the experience... Okay, this sounds really cliche, but just hear me out.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
There's that, and what doesn't kill you increases your insurance premium. There's a joke somewhere there, and I found that funny, so shush.
Anyway, going back to my moving on style.
Yeah.
I guess the core of it is I accept that I love that person.
Yeah.
And loving that person means backing off and forgetting my ego, forgetting my pride. Because if I push my feelings for her, I'm just feeding my pride. I'm saying to myself that I couldn't lose this way.
Oh.
It's
okay.
not really loving that person means you have to make her happy, and sometimes making her happy means that you don't pursue her anymore. That you can be happy. You can be happy with other people. You also need to accept that. But don't concentrate on the finger. We are so hurt after the rejection that we concentrate on the finger, not on our true purpose to make that person happy.
Take a step back, look at everything, try. I'm not saying that it can happen on day one.
It wouldn't. Based on experience
Yeah.
and various heartbreaks, it'll happen at least on day 10.
Or whatever. So just take a step back and look at the entire thing as objectively as you can. And remember that the person is a person, not something that you can win. The person is not a trophy that when you attain, you wag around and say, "Oh my God, I finally nailed it."
It's not an award. She or he is a person.
Yeah.
You need to respect their wishes. Much as I hate to admit it, because it sucks if someone doesn't love you and you love them, but
Yeah.
you need to accept it. Don't run away from reality. I have nothing else to say.
Holy cripes, we've lasted that long and we've only barely scratched the surface.
We still have a second episode for this, so it's okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, if we keep going on like this, we might actually make it into a 3-parter.
We shall see.
We'll see, because this is Ninong's episode. The next one is going to be mine. And depending on how things go, we can take the third one in order to discuss both our sides. And hopefully we can have you guys interact with us and share us your thoughts.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
We'd love to hear what you think when it comes to moving on, what your methods are and how you would like to do it. And if you have advice that you would like to share with us, that would be beautiful, because we're only 2 people and we only have so much life experience under our belts, and we'd love to hear from you. So, Ninong, any parting words for our audience?
I guess last thing I want to say is don't concentrate on the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're missing the heavenly glory, for crying out loud. Remember your feelings for that person, and don't concentrate on your ego. And it is very cliche to say that if you love someone, set him or her free.
Oh, yeah.
It's very cliche, so just don't concentrate on the finger and look at the moon. Don't miss the heavenly glory. Be water, my friends.
So wise from Ninong. Okay, we are now going to wrap up the first part of episode 3. And we, of course, again, we would like to thank everyone who has been listening to us for the past month that we've been doing this.
Yes.
Because if not for any of you, or if not for all of you for that matter, none of this would be possible. We probably would have just flopped after episode 1.
I really can't believe it's been a month.
Yeah. And this all stemmed from the fact that a lot of people have been trying to talk to me regarding topics like these, and I'm pretty much telling the same story.
So we can just link this to them.
Yeah. So it helps us by not repeating ourselves over and over again, and it helps us reach a wider audience and help out a whole lot more. So
With
if
that,
you-
I guess.
Yeah. With that, I would like to ask you guys if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions to do leave us a message. Feel free to do it over the comment section here in SoundCloud, or email me at mellow.lazatin@gmail.com. or if you have questions that you would like answered that are not part of the topic yet, head on to my ask.fm, which is www.ask.fm/mtlazatin. And if you'd like to be updated, do head on to my Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/lazatinmello, because the name of my Facebook page is still from the one that that made me internet famous.
You
quote
would
unquote.
know once you get there.
The page is still called Made Macho, so yeah, that's me. And for Twitter, head on to @mtlazatin. And yeah, guys, part 2 will be coming pretty soon. So watch out for that. We will keep you updated. And depending, like we always say, depending on how fast we're able to pump out the product, meaning the podcast, and how fast I am able to edit it, I might have it earlier as compared to what we were saying, which was a week. So, Ninong, any parting words for our audience?
So, guys, girls, and everything in between, remember to move on, be brave, don't weep at my grave. That's from Dream Theater.
Okay.
And move on well. Keep your friends close and keep your best friends closer.
All right, guys, my name is Mello.
And I am Ninong.
And we are the Fairly Godfathers. And we're going to give you advice you can't refuse.
Bow.
Chicka wow wow.